Alright, so in our previous class, we had finished estimation of what resources or time. What was it? Let's just go a little bit up. Oh, okay, so it was estimation of uh, duration or time for given activities. Okay, and then we said people doing work should help create estimates and an expert should review them. So when you have already defined the activities that will be needed or required in your given project, you'll be required to also estimate the time that each of these activities will be able to take to be completed. Okay, and then in the process of estimating the time that each of these activities will be taking, you must ensure that you engage the people that will be involved in implementing these given activities. And then apart from that, you should also ensure that you involve an expert for consultation purposes. That way, you'll be able to at least strike a balance and come up with something that is more realistic and more likely to be accurate and correct. All right, so when estimating, of course, there are various estimates or number estimates that you can employ. You have got the 1 point estimate, the 2 point estimate, and the 3 point estimate. The 1 point estimate, which can also be known as an analogous, this word, where is it? This one, analogous, okay, is known as a 1 point estimate, where you just estimate to say, okay, so this given activity will just take 1 week. That's 1 point estimate. But if you say this given activity is going to take maybe 2 to 3 days, okay, so you can be able to see if you're able to say 1 to 3 days, so you can be able to see, okay, this activity has been given a range of 1 to 3, which is 3 points estimate, in which it is expected to be completed. Okay. All right. So when it comes to now choosing which estimate value you are going to implement, whether a 3 point estimate or analogous estimate, it will also depend on the type of activity that you are implementing. So if you have got stable activities that are straightforward, then analogous will work well, because this is something that's just straightforward. Okay. Now, when you have activities that are dependent on other activities, like we were talking about in our previous topics, and especially under sequencing, where we looked at developing of relationships or logical relationships among given activities, isn't it? And then we said certain activities are dependent on other activities, meaning they cannot start unless other activities are done. So from there, you can be able to see that these activities are not certain, okay, because we don't know how the activities which they are depending upon will develop. As a result, it is much more safe to create a range or an estimate in which we expect these activities to be completed or implemented in. Okay, so as you can see, dependent activities, amount needed for testing is dependent on the successful test or unsuccessful test. 3 point estimate or analogous works well. All right, then we've got uncertain activities. Okay, so no previous precedence, complex projects. Okay, start with 3 point estimate to set boundaries, then use analogous to set actual estimate. Okay, so when we are dealing now with the activities that have got uncertainty, so these activities can either be dependent activities or they can be activities that are not dependent on any activities. However, they are just activities that are uncertain. They've got an uncertainty attached to them. So what you can be able to do is you can try to combine both types of estimates, okay? The 3-point estimate and the analogous estimate, so that you can be able to come up with your estimate of duration expected, or in which this activity is more likely to be implemented. All right, so that was on duration activity, duration for activities. Now we are going to the fifth stage under project time management process, which is the developing of a schedule. So a schedule is simply just a summary, okay, of whatever we have been discussing since the first stage, okay, or the first phase. It is just a summary of everything all put up together, or we can say it is the final brick that is being laid, okay, on this pyramid that we have been building. So, okay, no, let me not say the final brick, but we can say it is the whole picture, okay, of what we have been talking about. Because under a schedule, you must be able to show the list of activities. Under a schedule, you must be able to show the resources that are required for each activity. Under a schedule, you must also be able to indicate the time that each activity is going to take. Under a schedule, you must also be able to show the sequence, okay, of how activities are flowing in a given project. All right, so the ultimate goal is to create a realistic project schedule that provides a basis for monitoring project progress for the time dimension of the project. All right, so like we have just explained the features of a project schedule, the main goal or the main purpose of the project schedule is to help us now begin to monitor, okay, the progress of the project. How? Under a project schedule, as we have said, we have already indicated to say this activity has got this given duration. So by knowing the duration, okay, or by reflecting the duration of any or each given activity, you can be able to know whether that activity is progressing according to plan, or that activity is not progressing as it's supposed to progress. Okay. Apart from that, you can be able to also see resources to say, okay, so this given activity requires this amount of resources. But then when you go on the ground to counter check and you find that those resources are not available, as a project manager, you can be able to know to say, oh, okay, so there is a need of these resources, otherwise it will stunt or to hold the project from progressing. Okay, so in simple sense, with those examples that I've given, that's what the main purpose and goal of a schedule is, so that it can be able to be a basis upon which we can be monitoring, okay, monitoring how activities are being implemented, how the project is progressing, or also monitoring if the resources are being allocated as they are supposed to be, so that we can be able to control, okay, and make adjustment so as to ensure that the project is being implemented and is progressing. All right, so whilst on the same topic, um, there are tools that are usually used, okay, to create schedules in organizations. Of course, there are a lot of tools that are used, and as technology is advancing, uh, there are new ones that are being developed. However, In this course, we are going to look at one of the most famous tools that is usually used when it comes to creating of projects in project management. So this famous tool is usually known as a Gantt chart. Okay, so a Gantt chart provides a standard format for displaying project schedule information by listing project activity and their corresponding start and finish date in a calendar format. Alright, so a Gantt chart is one of the most powerful tools that there is out there that is being used in various organizations. Okay, and this Gantt chart just simply helps to reflect, okay, schedule information about a given project with regards to the activities and also their duration or times. Okay, so just from this definition, you can be able to pick out the strengths of a Gantt chart in that it is able to show us activities and duration of time. However, it is unable to reflect certain information, okay? Information such as resources that are required to implement a given um, activity. So that can be one of the weaknesses. As you can see, they haven't shown yet to say what is the weakness of a Gantt chart. But if you have been following with classes since we began, you can be able to tell that if you are to use a Gantt chart as a way of creating a schedule, then you'll be having some challenges with regards to monitoring the resources required for each given project. All right, we continue. So now when we look at a Gantt chart has got some symbols that it works with or that are used to help us in the whole process of monitoring and controlling of our project. So it's got about four main symbols. The first one is known as a black diamond. So a black diamond is a special symbol on a Gantt chart that is used to display a milestone that has been achieved. So a milestone is just simply any achievement that is worth recognized or worth to be recognized as you are implementing your given project. One of them is just the initiating of a project to say, okay, this project has been initiated, has been officiated to say it can begin. That on its own can be a milestone in that you can have certain situations where you are in an area where maybe there is very low employment and people are looking for some form of maybe let's say a company or a plant or a machinery store that will be set up in that area so that whatever, if it is a machinery area, if it is a store or plant, it can be able to create employment for the local people in that community. So just the so after that plant has been set up in that community, when they officiate to say, okay, so this plant can now begin to operate, that on its own, okay, becomes an achievement and can be regarded as a milestone, okay, because now people have been employed and they have started working and are able to expect to be getting some income from that given project. So, in like manner, a black diamond is used to indicate milestones for various activities on a given Gantt chart for a given project that is being implemented. Then we have what is known as a thick black bar or thick black bars, okay, which are used to summarize tasks or certain given tasks. All right, we shall look at this in details as we look through the Gantt chart. Then we have what is known as a lighter horizontal bar or lighter horizontal bars. So these are simply used to indicate the duration of tasks or individual tasks. Okay, so each individual tasks will be given a duration using a light horizontal bar. But if we are looking at a thick black bar, it can give us a summary duration of more than one task. Under the light horizontal bar, we have just one task, but under the thick black bar, we have a variety of tasks. Alright, then the fourth one, we have got what is known as arrows. And like we had already explained in our class under sequencing, okay, arrows are used to show dependencies or relationships between given tasks or activities. Alright, so these are the four symbols that are usually found and are used under a Gantt chart. Alright, so many people like to focus on meeting milestones, especially for large projects. Normally create milestones by entering tasks with a zero duration. Okay, you can mark any task as a milestone. Okay, so milestones are not constricted to duration whatsoever. However, milestones are usually constricted to events or tasks. Okay, so either a task being started or a task being completed. So at whatever time that task will start, it will be considered a milestone, or at whatever time that task will finish, it will be considered as a milestone. So milestones should follow the SMART criteria. Okay, so the SMART criteria goes as follows: define milestone early and include in Gantt chart. Keep milestones small and frequent. So milestones should not be too like it shouldn't be too what's this too ambitious. Okay, yeah, you should try the best you can to make them just small, those small things, but they matter. Like for example, we have initiated a project, it's a milestone on its own. Okay, you shouldn't just wait to say a milestone would depend on when we finish the entire project, that's when we will create a milestone. No, but just small achievements that you are making. Okay, you should be able to say, okay, so we'll make this. Once we achieve this, then we'll say we have achieved something. All right, so you should keep them small, and then you should also keep them frequent, because these milestones, as you are achieving them, they'll kind of create a moral boost for you yourself as a project manager, and also with for the people with whom you are working with on that given project. All right, so then the third thing is the set of milestones must be all encompassing. Okay, then fourth, each milestone must be binary, either complete or incomplete. Then carefully monitor the critical path. Okay, so when it comes to milestones, it's not always usually that you know uh, milestone should be 100% complete or achieved. Okay, you can be able to indicate to say, okay, so even though we haven't really completed this given milestone, however, we were able to at least complete it halfway. Okay, we are able to complete it halfway, and that way you must be able to make sure that the milestone are binary. Okay, so let's not waste too much time on this one. Let's just quickly look at the Gantt chart, then we can wrap up for today. Then when we come tomorrow, I think we can start with the critical path method. All right, so as you can see on our screen here, we have got an example of a Gantt chart. So in this Gantt chart, the first thing we're able to see under the first column, let me just highlight. So we've got the first column here. Okay, the first thing we are able to see is what is known as a WBS hierarchy. Now, if you remember in our first module, the last topic we looked at was known as a work breakdown structure. And then that same work breakdown structure, as you can see, has returned to hand you. Okay, so this should just show you that everything that we are learning from beginning is all coming together. Okay, it is all coming together just to draw up this one great big picture. So just make sure that you are following, and whatever we are learning, you are not throwing them away, you are keeping them, and then you are building on top of them. Just like I had already encouraged you to say, this course is just an introductory course. Okay, it is just meant to introduce you to the concepts and the basics of project management. Then from there, you can be able to start building on that, going for further studies and so on and so forth. So now back to our Gantt chart. So as we can see in our first column here, we can see what is known as a work breakdown structure. And under a work breakdown structure, we had already defined what it is. It simply just shows us a list of activities that have been grouped under certain compartments or departments. So given this given this Gantt chart, we have got compartments such as the cooperation communication. Okay, and then under this compartment here, let me just try to use another color. All right, so under this compartment, okay, under this compartment, we have got cooperation communication kickoff, communication planned delivered, packaging, data sheets, all these tasks, okay, that are falling under this compartment of cooperation communication. Then after that, we have got another compartment which follows, and this compartment is advertising. Okay, is advertising. So under advertisement, we have develop creative trials, develop concept, create concepts, add development. Okay, and so on and so forth. Then from there, we have got now the other column. Okay, the other column here, which if you can see the first row, okay, the first row in the second column is simply a calendar. Okay, it's simply a calendar here that is I believe being displayed in form of days. Okay, so we've got 7th December, 14th December, 21 December, and so on and so forth, just to help us reflect how time is moving as we are implementing this given project. Then apart from that, you can be able to see the symbols we were talking about. We've got the thick black bars, okay, which is falling under compartments only or departments only. So you can see this one. Again, you can see under advertisement, we've got this one. We can see under public relations, we can see this one here. Then under beta test, we can also see this one. What is it doing? It is giving us a summary of all the activities under each given compartment or department. Then we have got these uh, light gray bars, which are showing us the duration of only a given task under each given compartment. Okay, so as you can see, packaging, sorry, uh, okay, so packaging here is being represented by this, and from the looks of it, you can see that packaging is starting from the 80th, okay, of February, and then it's ending on the 3rd of May. All right, and then we have got uh, data sheets. Data sheets here. Okay, which is starting on the 22nd of February and is ending on the 24th of March, and so on and so forth. Then we have got a diamond here showing us a milestone, isn't it? Which is on the 4th of January. And as you can see, all activities in this given project that have been reflected by this Gantt chart are beginning on the 4th of January, meaning this milestone here is just indicating an achievement in terms of implementation, or the beginning of implementation of a given project, to say it has been given a go ahead and it has finally now been it is now being materialized, okay, or realized. All right, so that is on a Gantt chart, and that is on um, schedule and monitoring and controlling of uh, a given project or project progress. So next time when we meet, we shall continue by looking at the critical path method. Then we shall also look at the critical chain scheduling, and then last and not the least, we shall look at project evaluation, which is under PERT. All right, see you in our next session.